Now, there is a lot of big visits, Steve, but the biggest news coming out of the weekend is five-star Jared Curtis in the 2026 class. Quarterback, decommitting from the Georgia Bulldogs, no longer a dog. He put himself back on the market. It's also just a big day here at On3 in general. We updated our 2026 rankings, and Jared Curtis is our number one quarterback. So, 6'4", 225 pounds out of Nashville Christian School. Committed to Georgia back in March, but he's now back on the market. What are you hearing in terms of what's next for Curtis?
Well, you and I were talking about it off air before we came here live on the WIltfong Whip Round, and we both feel like Georgia could get him back in the fold. He's going to be in Athens again for Georgia's big home game against Tennessee. He loves Kirby Smart, Mike Bobo, Coach Gummy, Montgomery Van Gorder, those guys. He trusts that those are the coaches that could get the best out of him playing on the stage he sees himself playing on for a school that he loved. But look, he reopened the process because he thought he decided too early. He wants to take more visits, and he doesn't want to be one of those quarterbacks committed that's out there on the road visiting other schools. And so look, anytime he took a visit, whether it was to USC in the summer or South Carolina earlier this fall, he always had to call Coach Bobo and say, hey, I'm going to take a visit elsewhere. And Coach Bobo would be like, that's cool, but remember, you're a dog. Well, they're going to keep recruiting him, keep telling him he's a dog, and he's going to be back for the Tennessee game, and he's looking forward to getting back around the staff and getting back around the coaches. But the door is open for several other programs to also land Jared Curtis moving forward. I think that starts with Oregon. He had a great visit to the Ducks campus in February. Loves Will Stein, the offensive coordinator, is excited about what Dan Lanning and company are building in Eugene. He wants to get back out to Oregon sometime, and I think that Oregon is one of the main schools to keep an eye on moving forward. He's going to be at Auburn on November 2nd for the game against Vanderbilt. Now, Auburn is a new school to the party, but his coach has a good relationship with the staff on the Plains. He hears good things about Auburn. That's a game in close proximity. So he's going to go check out Auburn. Other contenders for Jared Curtis include Alabama. He wants to get back to Tuscaloosa. He was very familiar with them under Coach Saban and company. He's just now getting to know Kalen DeBoer and Nick Sheridan over the phone. Clemson's another. He hasn't been there in a while, but he's been talking to Garrett Riley. Wants to see where that goes. South Carolina is one of the programs I'm taking real serious for Jared Curtis. Dal Logan's the offensive coordinator, is one of his best relationships. He was there for the LSU game. He loves the way that they got Spencer Rattler back on track after he transferred from Oklahoma and helped to develop him into an NFL draft pick. And then USC, you're going to see him wearing a USC pullover in the interview at the end of the show today that you did with Jared Curtis while he was in the On3 studio on Sunday. He loved his visit out there this summer, wants to get back, points to Lincoln Riley and his track record of offense and quarterback development as something he's high on. And then one more school in the mix for Jared Curtis is Ohio State. He nearly committed to Ohio State at one point. They had some turnover with their quarterbacks coach with Corey Dennis moving on, but they got Chip Kelly in there now. He's already been to Nashville Christian School to see Jared Curtis. He's excited about Ryan Day and Chip Kelly in the same way he's been excited about Georgia and their offense, and then the way he's talked about Oregon. And so Ohio State is another program that's in there for Jared Curtis. And then we'll see who else can jump in and get involved for the five-star passer. Number 3 overall player in the updated On3 2026 rankings.
Yeah, we'll have an interview with Jared Curtis that I did with him in studio at the end of the show. One of the things he told me off the record was that he didn't really watch a whole lot of quarterback play. He doesn't watch a whole lot of football in general. He just has other interests. But he did mention that Cam Ward is the one guy that he really enjoys watching. Now, Miami, we'll see if they get involved, but I do think if Miami kicks the tires on Jared Curtis, he would have some interest, so that could be another team to watch. Steve, we mentioned that the On3 rankings were updated for the 2026 cycle. We also have a new number 1, not just at quarterback, but overall, because Jakeem Stewart reclassified to 2025, leaving a void there. So we have a new number 1. It's edge Zion Ely. And you today put in a new expert prediction for not just him, but a couple other top prospects. Tell us about it.
Yeah, Zion Ely. I like where Oregon stands with the newly minted 5-star from Baltimore St. Francis. He was in my city on Friday. They played Center Grove, dominated the state powerhouse, Hoosier State powerhouse on Friday night. And I got a chance to spend some time with him before the game. And I also talked to him this morning. I think Oregon is the program to beat. He was there for Saturday Night Live at the end of July. He came back for the dominant win over Michigan State this season. His relationship with the Oregon staff is second to none right now, and he just loves where that program's headed. He was at Maryland this weekend, saw the Terps rally to beat USC. I actually think they're in the top 2 right now. But this recruitment, all recruitments are fluid. Miami, Texas A&M, Tennessee, a few others he mentioned. Ole Miss is another program that he's got some interest in. So we'll see how things develop with Zion Ely. But I like where Oregon stands. My on-3 RPM reflects that. Mm-hmm. I feel like on whatever depending the day, Josh, Jackson Cantwell, he's the new number 2 player in the country, number 1 offensive tackle in the land. Sometimes I'm really feeling a Georgia prediction, and sometimes I'm like, let's wait and see, as you got Missouri in there. Missouri does a great job of keeping the state's best in home. You got LSU in there. Alabama's going to visit those 2 programs coming up. Nebraska is one of his favorites. But I still think, and I know my colleague Chad Simmons does as well, that Georgia is setting the pace for Jackson Cantwell right now. Logged 2 more new on-3 RPMs this morning, Josh. John Tarrantine III is an offensive tackle from the state of Texas. The Longhorns look like they are setting the pace early in his process, and my on-3 RPM now reflects that as I join a couple of our team insiders predicting the Longhorns for John Tarrantine III. And then Darius Gray is an offensive lineman from Richmond, Virginia. He's been to South Carolina a couple times, spring game earlier this season. He's got a lot of programs on his mind. He's got upcoming visits to Tennessee and Ohio State, but I think Shane Beamer and the Gamecocks are setting the pace for Darius Gray, so my on-3 RPM also reflects that.
All right. Let us know what you guys think of Steve's latest predictions on some of these top 2026 targets. Let us know. Comment section below.